Creating conversation is what we do on arrow.net, ARROE.net. We are unplugged and totally uncut with Dr. Patricia Bannan.
I'm good. How are you, Arrow?
Absolutely fantastic. In a real way, you are Batman. You are coming to save a lot of people from this thing that we have done to our mind, body, and soul over the past 25 months.
Yes. Well, we are all feeling depleted these days. Absolutely.
What's really interesting, and what I got to give you kudos to, is that not only do you have the title of the book, From Burnout to Balance, but right there it talks about boosting the mood, the immunity, focus, and sleep. We are all suffering right now, and I'll tell you, we need this.
Yes. You know what? We're all feeling depleted these days. And are you curious the difference between stress and burnout? Because that's a question I often get asked.
Burnout has a new definition because, I mean, what's really interesting is that, people have got Zoom burnout, we've got job burnout, we've got structures at home because we're burned out. How can we get through this, and how important is the food that we eat?
Yeah, Ara, you said you can almost combine burnout with anything going on in our life, and you're going to be like, yeah, I know what that is. But, so stress is like when you're feeling overly connected, overly involved in a task, and burnout is when you just start to numb out. You can't even care anymore because that stress has just piled up for so long, and we're all feeling that burnout right now. So, this book is part health book, part cookbook. It's like two books in one. And in the health book section of the book, I dive into the science behind burnout, offer burnout busters. There's a chapter in each of those four core areas you mentioned: mood, immunity, focus, and sleep, with lifestyle strategies as well as top food choices, meal plans, and then there's the recipe section. So I'd love to talk you through a few of the recipes in the book as well.
Well, I want to give you a big pat on the shoulders here with the way that you talk about those essays and stuff that are in there, because you give us a reason to activate the recipes, because I love the way that you dive in and you say, this is what we're working on this page right here. So it's almost like that we can go from page to page to page and have something new to eat every day.
Yeah, so Eric, you've got it, and because I've divided the book into those four core areas, you can really jump into the area that you're most struggling with. And we can eat, those comfort foods where we're feeling stressed or we're feeling burnout. We often want to have those high sugar, those high fat foods. So it's really important that the recipes in this book tasted fantastic, right? Because you also there's a lot of foods in the book that are going to feel like comfort foods, but they're giving you the nutrition you need to feel your best or to combat some of those areas. So I'd love to start with a mood-boosting recipe. Can I share that with you?
Sure.
So one of my favorite mood-boosting salads is a grapefruit and fig salad with a pomegranate rosemary vinaigrette. And those part grapefruits, they play fantastic off of those sweet California figs. Figs are trending now, but they're also a must-have pantry staple, those dried figs, because they've got mood-boosting dietary fiber, they've got calcium, they've got potassium, they've got iron to help you feel your best.
Yeah,
and then immunity.
Because everybody's body is aching right now from the stress, and they think that they're getting injured and stuff like that at work, but you're right about those figs. Those figs are really good for the body.
Yeah, and they're available year-round. It's something you just want to keep in your pantry. Fresh figs are fantastic, too. Buy them when you have them. Buy them when they're in season. But those dried figs are something you can always have on hand. And then immunity. We're concerned about immunity these days. Can I share some of my favorite immune-boosting foods?
Wow. Now, when we talk about figs, because I work an essential job, and one of the things that I notice at this essential jobs, people are buying fig Newtons. Now, that's not the kind of figs that people need to be working on, right?
I'm talking about fresh figs. You can actually just have dried, fresh California figs, Mission Golden, whatever it is, and they can be added, like I just talked about the salad. You can add them into a salad. You can add them into a stir fry. They work in savory dishes and sweet dishes. They can even work wonderfully in a dessert. You can add a little dark chocolate on there for some sweet treat with some antioxidants. So there's so many different ways you can use them.
One of the things that I struggled with during the lockdown was that we were treating it as a breakfast, and it should be a breakfast. And I love what you're doing with these fluffy oat pancakes with pears. I never even thought about mixing pears with this.
You can really use almost any fruit, of course, on top of those. But pears is just, giving it a little twist. Those oats in there. It's a whole grain. They're also a gluten-free way to have a pancake in the morning. So that's one of my favorites. But I do want to jump into some immunity recipes because we're so focused on immunity.
Yes, we are.
Mushrooms are a top choice for immunity because they have selenium, they have copper, they have B vitamins. And they also, if you can find those UV light-exposed mushrooms in the grocery store, they're an excellent source of vitamin D. only source of vitamin D in the produce aisle. So two of my favorite recipes in the book with mushrooms are my poblano and portobello tacos. Those portobello mushrooms, they add a meatiness without the meat, making this a vegetarian dish. And then I also have my shiitake and herb broth in a hurry. It's so easy to make. The garlic and the ginger add medicinal properties. The shiitake mushrooms, they add an umami flavor and a boatload of B vitamins for energy. And that umami, it allows you to counterbalance the need for salt. You can actually use less salt and you won't even notice it.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because you must have been listening to a phone conversation I was having with my wife. She goes, "What do you need from the store?" And I said, "I need vitamin D." Now I need to tell her, no, we need to go have some mushrooms because I didn't know it had vitamin D in them, the mushrooms.
Yeah, so UV, you know how we get vitamin D from sunlight?
Yeah.
Mushrooms get vitamin D from sunlight as well. Isn't that cool?
And
they also have, yep.
I was going to say, that's what's great about your book is like we said at the very beginning, this isn't just a cookbook. This is a learn book. It's an activator's book.
Oh, well, thank you, Ari. Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of information in here. And I went through burnout myself. I know what it feels like. That's what inspired me to write this book. So I really did a lot of research on why are we experiencing this and what can we do lifestyle-wise, nutritionally, to help combat some of these areas we're struggling with.
Your sheet pan salmon, fingerling potatoes, and asparagus. I never even thought about citrus miso sauce. That in itself, that's an original.
Well, thank you. You know, this is one of my favorite recipes in the book because it's a complete meal on one sheet pan. So it's so easy. You're getting the DHA, EPA, omega-3s, and that salmon. And then that citro miso sauce, it takes it to a new level. It's a fantastic taste. It has a serrano chili in there for some heat, some spice if you like to go that route. So that's one of my favorites. And the other thing is focus in the book. You know, mushrooms also have ergothioneine, which is an amino acid with antioxidant properties for cognitive health. So those are also in some of the focus recipes. And, you know, guess how many decisions we make a day just about food?
When you talk about antioxidants, right away I'm thinking this is good for the heart.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and our heart takes such a hit with stress and burnout. So that's a huge thing. It's still the number one cause of death for both men and women in this country.
How important are soups? And the reason why I bring that up is because that's what I specialized in during that year of being locked down. I wanted soup every day, so I created soup.
Oh, that was your thing. You know, soup is a wonderful food. It's a comfort food, and when we talk about feeling stress and burnout, we want those comfort foods, but it's a comfort food that's going to feel good when you eat it. It's going to feel good in your body after you eat it, and there's so many wonderful recipes. There's also a tomato turmeric sweet potato soup in the book, which is it's one of those comfort foods.
I just recently started taking turmeric in 2021, and you've got turmeric hot cocoa. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is like the wonder root.
Yes. You know, if you've ever heard Mark Mason, he does a comedy stand-up on turmeric, and he's like, what? Now they're going to have to add black pepper to it? And you do, because black pepper, it unleashes the antioxidant properties, the medicinal benefits of that turmeric. So all my turmeric recipes in the book have a little bit of black pepper in there, so you're getting the most out of those recipes.
Do you think that you know, when you have curry and things like that it gets into the everything inside you, not only in your mind, body, and soul, but it gets in there and digs in like a good spice does, and it can break things up?
I don't know. I hope so. I love the way that you explain that. I do know, you know, what we eat matters, but it's not just getting those nutrients. You know, the food has to taste fantastic. It has to be a nice experience. And so that's what I tried to create with these recipes. Well,
I got to tell you, Patricia, you make it. You say that food has to taste fantastic. It has to look fantastic too. So whoever your photographer was, and I mean, they really make me go, I got to have this.
Yes, Jennifer Chong, she did an amazing job on the book. Yes, really beautiful photos.
Are you going to turn this into a podcast of some sort? Because you know there's a lot of foodies out there that want to learn about this kind of stuff.
Well, I don't know if I'll have my own podcast, but I do have some podcast interviews coming up, including my good friend Ellie Krieger, who you may have heard of. One
of the things that people are going through at this point in time, because I see a lot of melatonin going across that thing and all these other different drugs for people that I can't sleep. But you have got an entire chapter number 6 here that promotes sleep, and really it's what we eat.
Yeah, you know, what we eat, our lifestyle factors play a key role in sleep. According to the National Sleep Foundation, 63% of us aren't getting enough rest. So I've got recipes in the book like my tart cherry peppermint tea, that tart cherry juice. It's going to help with melatonin. It has melatonin in it. And then I also have some almond chamomile cookies, sleepy time almond chamomile cookies, which also those oats have melatonin in it, which is a hormone that helps you regulate your circadian system. So there's nutrients in there. The almonds in those cookies has magnesium to help you relax at night. So, it tastes a lot better than a sleeping pill.
I've always known that turkey, gets you kind of in a sleepy mood and stuff like that, but I didn't realize that jasmine or white rice was the same thing. And that's like, too, I have to have that stuff every day. No wonder I get a little bit sleepy.
Yeah, biologically it works a little bit different, but it is a tryptophan effect in a sense, because of the way that the white rice counterbalances your hormones, but you're going to get a sleepy effect from it similarly to foods that are high in tryptophan, and I have a lot of those noted in the book, including turkey is one.
One of the things that I've picked up on in the past a few months is the fact that I like having toast with peanut butter and bananas, and look at this book, Peanut Butter Peach Toast Crunch.
Yeah, I tried to switch it up as I started putting these recipes together, and I started looking at the breakfast recipes. I thought, you need that one that tastes delicious, but you can make it so quick, right?
Yep.
So that's one of those ones. It's just a kind of a twist on a peanut butter toast. And then all of the recipes have a supercharger ingredient. And I believe the supercharger on that was sliced strawberries. And the idea there is that supercharger, it just boosts up the nutritional content or boosts up the flavor of the recipe, but we don't want to stress ourselves out in the kitchen. So it's one of those ingredients, if you have it on hand or if you really like it, add it to the recipe. But if you don't, you can easily leave it out.
You know how listeners are. They're hearing us talk about it and they want to go to your website. So where can they go to find out more about the book as well as they can find out and give you some love?
Yeah, well, thank you so much. The book is available everywhere books are sold, and you can get some of these recipes on my website at patriciabannan.com.
You got to come back to this show anytime in the future, Patricia. The door is always going to be open for you because I love talking about healthy food and healthy eating.
Thank you, Aro. You are the soup genie.
Yes, I am. You got to have a bowl of it with me sometime.
All right.
You be brilliant today, okay?
You too. Thanks so much.